All right, how's it going? Today I want to talk about the differences between where I used to live and where I live now and why I moved. Um, we'll just get right into it. So I lived in Oxnard, California since from 1969, and I moved out of California in or out of Oxnard, Ventura County in 2021. Then from 2021 to 2023, I lived in Central California. And okay, so Oxnard, when I first moved there, it's a small town, 20,000 people. And it had some development, but mostly farm fields and stuff. And, you know, I remember growing up, it's a cool place. But let's just cut to the chase. The place got too overpopulated. It just was too many people. And I didn't know, but it kind of caught up with me and started affecting me mentally. Now, at the time, I didn't know because I would medicate. We'll just call it that, just to get through all my problems, through the stress, through the depression, through all that. I would medicate a lot. But then I started burning out, you know, and, you know, I would go out and do some fun activities like bike riding and stuff, and I could function in society. And all that time I was medicated a lot. People who know me know what I mean. And then I got ill and I had to stop medicating because it was really affecting my body. And of course I was getting older. And so the more sober I got, the more stress I got, the more depression I got. I stopped doing these fun things, and in short, I started getting agoraphobic. I would just stay in my house and not go out and socialize because I just did not feel comfortable anymore being around a lot of people, which kind of affected me where, you know, physically, you know, because I would stay home and not do anything, I was gaining weight. Then I guess genetics kicked in and started getting like pains in my body. To where before I would get these pains in my body, but of course I'd medicate and I can tolerate it. But seeing that I was sober, it's like, shit, this shit hurts. And basically I was getting burnt out, so I decided that I was working part-time because I had to, didn't want to, but California got really expensive and I couldn't take it anymore. I decided I'll just sell my house and live off that money. So I did that and I moved to Central California. Now, my past had really got me fucked up. I'm really not gonna talk about it here, but I took that money and I spent a lot of it so I can live. And what I mean by that, you know, people made me mistake it. Go out and have a good time and buy this and buy that, which I did. I went out and I bought stuff because I have some pretty expensive hobbies. Plus, I traveled a lot. And I was kind of medicating myself when I moved as well. Not as much, but I thought a new move, you know, a new start would help me out. But it didn't. And I started doing the same thing again. Started getting agoraphobic, didn't want to go out, this, that, and not really socialize as much. I mean, I know in Central California, I only had enough friends to where I could count them on two hands, and that's it. So I didn't really have too many friends and hung out alone a lot. So after that, once I found out I was getting more burnt out there, I'm like, shit. So I took a chance and I visited my sister and my brother-in-law here in Kentucky. And I've never been here in the South before, so I went and checked it out. Now, where I live now is where I live on my sister's land. We are out in the boonies in Appalachia. I live in a small town called Somerset, and it has about 20,000 people, and it's really spread out, but we are not in the city part of it. We live in between two cities, Somerset and London. We live in the middle, and either way, it's about 20 miles to just where you start entering the city. And then once you enter the city, that's more miles. So let me put it this way. A normal trip to town for me to do errands, if or when I do them, the round trip is 50 miles. So every time I have to go, like, pick up food or whatnot, it would be like a 50 mile plus trip. But what I notice here is that the cost of living was very low. And I learned that my money goes farther here. Plus, one of my dreams was to own land, own my home. I mean, I own my home in Oxnard, but that took up all of my retirement, which sucked. But so here, I found that I can manifest that dream into reality. I can afford to buy land here, and I can afford to build a home, which you see now. This is a big barn shed, and I'm making it a tiny home, and I'm on my sister's land, and I plan to buy like 3 to 5 acres off of it in the mountains, so it's really beautiful. And I'm away from town, but also away from people. I mean, we have people that live in our holler here, and for those of you who do not know what a holler is, it's like a valley through some mountains, and basically it's my street. And all the houses, we have houses here. Our holler, my street's about 9 miles long. So there are houses scattered through our holler, which is my neighborhood. Not like, to compare it, not like where I used to live in Oxnard, where I live in a neighborhood where the houses are right next to each other. These houses are not. They're about 100 yards away, if not more, apart. So you get a lot of privacy and a lot of peace. Plus, I mean, the air is fresher here, you can tell. What I do miss about California is the beach, the ocean. But I'll take that, and the weather. And I'll take that trade-off, though, and live here where the weather is bipolar, and the surprising thing is me, a California beach bum, used to great weather. I kind of acclimated to this weather. I'm not gonna say I got used to it, but I did, but I don't like it. Only because, and I only say this because since I got here, I've been living in this shed with no utilities. And if you've do that, you're practically just below being homeless, conditions-wise. Yeah, I do have a roof over my head, but I have no plumbing, no electricity. What electricity I use on a power station. The water I have a water hydrant up, where I hook up my garden hose. It's out front, but it's not functioning now because I don't have income to pay for that utility. So I just use rainwater, and I was forced to live off-grid and like a survivalist out here. Like take baby wipe showers. I do my laundry maybe once, maybe twice a month. When it's winter here, I have to use that wood stove behind me. Plus I have a propane heater, and I layer up a lot of clothes. Because the temperatures in this freezer here, see, I already said freezer, in my little tiny home, it gets to freezing temperatures. I mean, like a freezer, and I've described that before. Anyways, I would rather have all that than to live in the city. Because one, once I get my financial situation figured out, I can fix up this house to have utilities, and I'll be warmer, and I won't be as grouchy or depressed or fucking, you know, the PTSD kicks in and the agoraphobia, all that. It'll ease some of that pain, because when you're living like this, it really sucks, especially if you are used to being like California beach bum, nice weather all the time. But still, I would still rather live here. It'd be nicer if I had money, income coming in, and that I had a normal working house. And that will happen, but I'm not even chipping away at it. But once things get better, I can chip away at it. But once that happens, what I'm saying is this: I would rather live here now than go back to California and live there, because one, I get a lot of freedoms here that California doesn't have, and two, the cost of living here is low. So say, you know, my money will go farther here than it would in California, because I can tell you this much right now, and it sounds like I'm hating on California, but I'm just pointing out facts. Once I moved here and I realized how much it costs to live here, I realized California's way too fucking expensive, and it's not worth my fucking time or effort to ever live there again, unless, say, I won the Powerball and I become a multi-millionaire, like at least like $50 million or more. Then I wouldn't move back to California, but I would move up north, and I'm not talking San Francisco and Central. That to me is all Central California. You may not think it is, but it is, because you go more up north where the Emerald Triangle is, Mendocino, Trinity, and Humboldt counties. That's Northern California right there. In Northern California, if you notice on the map, Northern California is green, and everything below that's like desert color. Northern California reminds me of this, or this place reminds me of Northern California, or vice versa, except the good thing about Northern California is they have better weather than here, and not only will I have the mountains and all the trees and the redwood and the sequoia trees up there, but there's also the ocean right next to all that, and that would be the ideal place to live. But here in Appalachia, this place is fucking beautiful. I will tell you right now. If you're used to the city and used to going bars and all that shit, here, I can do that by taking a 2.5, maybe 3 hour trip, up to 1.5 to 3 hour trip. And there's a lot more places here I can go to that are like way more entertaining than I would in California. I mean, Knoxville is like maybe almost 2 hours away. Louisville, 2.5 hours away. Memphis, maybe 3 hours away. Hold up. Lexington, 1.5 hours away. Like Georgia, I think Atlanta, Georgia is like 6 hours away. I could get to New York in about 16 hours, Philadelphia in 14 hours. I could get to the East Coast in like, in the Dakotas, maybe 8 hours away. I could go up to the Midwest, Michigan, Ohio. Cincinnati, Ohio is 2 hours away from me. You know, I mean, there's a lot more places here. Plus, where I live, there's like creeks, rivers, caves, mountainous area. It does not look like the cities, any metropolitan city. It does not look like that. There's just totally, it's beautiful here. And yeah, maybe like people want to live in the city and the hustle bustle of the city, because I used to live that way. But out here, I didn't know this shit existed out here. And if I knew about this place sooner, I would have been fucking gone. I would have left California a long time ago. I know it sounds like I'm hating on California. I'm not really hating. I'm just expressing how I feel. And in California, I feel stuck. Same old redundant shit. And out here, even though I'm living like a survivalist, man, I can tell you this much: it doesn't get redundant because you have to do things out here. Okay, I'm not gonna. Let me retract. If you live in the conditions I do right now, then yeah, things don't get redundant because it's practically like living a survivalist. But say once I get the modern conveniences in here, and you know, I have a totally functioning house, and I got income to pay the bills, it'll be like living in a nice little house. So now I got land, and I'm in the mountains, and it's beautiful out here, and it's like living in a rich part of like where I used to live in the mountains with land. Except there's no oceans here. But I'll tell you this much, down about 5 miles down my street, because my street's about almost 9 miles long, there's a cave and a creek and a few rivers, and they're just right there. I could just go in any direction, and I could hit up caves, rivers. 47 minutes away from me is a huge, it's like a national park, Lake Cumberland, and they have like a huge waterfall there. They got waterfalls around here. I know up in Louisville, they have the Mega Caverns, which is like this big old underground cave that you can zip line through, and like the water below is, yeah, the water. They got water in these caves. It's like they put colored lights. They got Carter Caverns, which holds about 33 caves over there, and that's about an hour and a half away. Plus, you have an underground waterfall in a fucking cave. I mean, that may be normal here, but not to me. And I just find that once I get my shit together financially, once that all comes in, that I can enjoy life more than ever here, just discovering these places. And now I want to discover the Midwest and the East Coast and what's out here, because I've already seen what's west of the Rockies. I've seen enough places there. I've never been up to like Wyoming and Idaho, Iowa, and all that. And in Montana. I would love to check that out too. And I will. I've only seen like from Oklahoma all the way from California. I've seen New Mexico, Texas. I've even saw part of Arkansas, Nevada, Arizona, California. Been up to Oregon. Oregon's beautiful, by the way. Like I say, anything from Northern California on up, I want to see that. It's beautiful. I'm just tired of the city. I just don't. The city has nothing for me anymore. I mean, there may be nice museums and shit, but it's just the crowd and the congestion of all the people and cars. I can't do that anymore. It's a turnoff to me, you know. Wow, man, things have changed. And you know, people say, "Oh, Ray, you're just getting older." Well, I know I'm getting older, but I think it's more like I've seen and lived the city life enough. It got redundant, and now I can live this mountainous country life and feel more freedom and be more grateful, you know, for the natural beauty out here. It's, you know, plus the cost of living's a trip, man. Okay, for eggs. Okay, so I live on my sister's farm. They have chickens. So I know there's an egg crisis out there, but I'm not aware of it because we have eggs from our chickens, you know, and so I just don't know. I don't know. But I mean, going to the market and getting gas here is hella cheap. I mean, to me, because I used to live in California paying like $5 to $7 a gallon. $7, I'm talking diesel, a gallon. And I thought that was normal. But now I lived here. Now I think I'm getting spoiled, but I'll complain when gas gets up to like $2.70. I'm like, fuck, that went up. Compared to the, like when I first got here, it was $2.15 a gallon. And then I was told before it was below $2. And I'm like, what the fuck is that, you know? Anyways, I like it here, and I like the solitude. I can't function around a lot of people anymore. It's kind of sad. I mean, I can play it off, and I can, you know, do things, but on the inside, I got this anxiety. I just don't want that feeling anymore. That feeling of limbo, anxiety, and I sometimes will just have to, like, say I'm in the market and it gets crowded, right in the middle of shopping, I'll just leave my shopping cart there and leave. It's too many goddamn people. I don't know why, it just happens. But and I'm working on that. I'm working on that. Or maybe I don't, seeing that I don't live in the city no more, and I just avoid cities. And huge crowds, huge populations, and just, you know, just be out here in the mountains in the country and just away from the large cities. I love the small towns now I see around here. I don't mind small towns where, you know, population maybe a few hundred. I can dig that shit. Maybe 1,000, maybe even 4,000. I mean, 4,000 to me now is a lot of people, you know. Nah, I just, you know, I mean, I literally, when I get that anxiety or that panic attack, I literally cannot function. I can't explain it. But anyways, you know, out here, luckily, I don't have to really deal with a lot of people every day. I don't mind being alone out here. I kind of prefer it. I mean, I have my dogs. You know, there's a few people, like, of course, my family here, and, you know, that, you know, I can talk to and hang, but I do like the solitude of being out here in nature. It's freaking beautiful, man. And that's how I want this last part of my life to be like. So, anyways, I think we'll end it there, and yeah, that's it. I'm out.